it didn't work out too well. So anything could go to zero. But what I really like about your strategy, that it's basically investing $1 for every $100 you invest into something that's really, really risky, but could potentially 10x or 100x in the next few years. And that's what I think is amazing about that strategy, that asymmetrical risk, exactly like the way that you said it. I definitely am a big fan of like the alt space and investing outside the stock market, and that's an amazing strategy.
Yeah.
And guys, feel free to ask questions
Yeah,
too.
I think that's a good point that I think you made there, because one of the biggest, like you guys know, a lot of people probably consider me like extremely conservative. Like I paid off my house, I paid off all this debt, I have zero debt and all this kind of stuff, and the strategies I talk about a lot. But one thing I'm actually not as conservative as people think when it comes to this stuff, but I like to calculate my bets, if that makes sense. So like I like to be in a position that if I fall on my face, it's a pillow underneath me, but I can swing big on different elements and different bets, because I've set myself up to do so. And I think that's really important as you grow with your finances. Is like, hey, you don't have to do stupid bets or risky bets. Like you can do smart bets. Like they could fail, of course, but like if they fail, you're still in a good position. And like I think a lot of people try to get rich quick and swing big too early, and I think that's extremely detrimental because that puts you behind so far. But if you put yourself in the right position, there are really good bets that you can take, and even if you hit one, it could mean the difference of like retiring at 65 and 45, if I'm being honest. Like, but you got to do it strategically. You got to think through it and make sure you're not just doing something to get rich quick.
Facts. It's the classic rabbit versus the hare story where everyone's trying to bet on the rabbit, but wait, what? Rabbit versus the hare? They're both rabbits versus the turtle. The turtle is the one that actually wins the race. But I'm sure there were many points in the race where the rabbit was way ahead of the turtle. So I'm huge on index funds, and I hope everyone has at least some percentage of their portfolio in index funds. But yeah, these asymmetrical bets. I love Pokemon cards. I put money into Pokemon cards. Rally Road is a great place where you could buy pieces of the Declaration of Independence. Like I think there's a place for all these things in a person's portfolio, and I love breaking it down percentage wise, just like you just did.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Brennan, what's going on? Hey, host. Good evening to everybody.
How are you? How's everything going?
So, yeah, we're all good, man. So, just to add to this, I guess I've got a question on this. I swung from, big and hard, and I'm in total agreement with what everybody's saying so far. The best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Um, when I started my first business, I was still in school. That was finance too. So student loans and all that. No financial backing whatsoever, entirely self funded. I did really good my first 3 years. Um, for one employee, myself, and three contractors, like 350, 400 in revenue. 350,000, that's not million, but 350, 400,000 first couple of years. Um, I struck it pretty good, and then I lost it all just as fast. Um, I didn't have that support or that foundation that you guys are talking about. And so, for your average layman, what would you all want to say is a good base um, before you start getting into this space of crypto and alternative investments, whether it's seed funding with your friends or just these crazy NFTs that you see out there these days, or your own business? What would you all say is a good foundation, like fully stocked emergency funds, or do you take it to like a 2 year runway for your personal finances, or what sort of a runway are you guys or a base are you looking to establish?
So I would definitely say like for a basis, like you want to max out like your Roth IRA or like your main retirement account. Like I guess like depending on if you have a 401k or not, but like I would say like Roth IRA is probably makes the most sense, and it's like what is it, 6,000 a year, so it's not like insane, but it's solid. I guess really all depending on the age, but like the way I like to look at it is if you can consistently max out your Roth IRA from like let's say time you're 25 till you're 40, like I mean not 40, like till you go to retire at 65, so 40 years, like you're roughly going to make like $1 million, right? So you covered the basis with that, and then you also want to have like your emergency fund and everything stored, and then you could start dabbling with like alternatives. Like I think crypto, like I mean, you could set up like a SEP IRA and maybe have like a smaller allocation with crypto within that, but I feel like before you start cutting like checks for startups or start like gambling with like Pokemon cards and other alternatives, you should have like the basis covered. Like you should be like your retirement should kind of be set. You should have emergency savings. But anybody else have thoughts?
Yeah. So like, there's a few ways I look at this. I think it does vary dependent on the individual's risk meter. I can speak from personal experience what we did. So like, we made sure that our retirement was all but set. So we were what's called Coast Fi. Basically, if we didn't contribute anything else to retirement as of today, we would be fine and we'd retire financially independent. But on top of that, we looked at our other goals. So I would literally take out a pen and paper and just map out your goals. They don't have to be specific, just kind of a detail or just kind of a general goal setting thing. I want to retire by 65. Maybe I want to early retire by 50. What's going to allow you to get to that? Once you map that out and it's set in stone, you know what you have to do to get that. If those are covered, what I do is, which I mapped all mine out, I made sure all those were covered. Anything over that, I could expedite those, or I could take a big swing and a home run or a miss. That's what I've done with this play and with other plays. Now, crypto, you mentioned crypto. I don't know if crypto, the more we get into the space, I don't think crypto is necessarily a risky play if you're doing the Bitcoins and Ethereums of the world. Now, if you're going PBR or like some like Dogecoin thing, that's a whole different story. But I think there's a lot of legitimacy to having crypto in your portfolio. And I think a lot of professional managers would even agree, 2 to 5% allocation. Most of them will agree upon that just for diversification purposes. So I think once you set your goals, you're hitting those, then that money over and above those amounts, just do whatever makes you happy at that point, in my opinion. That's how I look at it.